Good afternoon. I pray all is well with everybody. Um, I think this is the first time I've come on like back to back. I came on last night with one message, and they gave me another one today, um, which was quite. In fact, this video is called Ancestral Reconciliation. When this one came through today, it kind of nearly made me cry. I kind of like, and it was like, no, cry for what? Nope, you don't need to cry. Just give the message and keep it moving. So I was like, okay. So anyway, this is called Ancestral Reconciliation. I did one called Reconciliation the other day, or maybe a week ago or so, about reconciling things within us. But what they're saying now is the reason why I keep going with this space of divine love and loving self and pulling yourself together is because in order to reconcile the whole planet, there's a lot of things that there's components that need to be made aware of. And part of it is this ancestral realm. Part of it is the ancestral realm that has done many things. They're saying that we're not to forget what our ancestors went through, and this is across the board, good, bad, or indifferent. We're not to forget those things, but they're saying that it is time now. Okay, because they gave me so many different components, and it's like I'm trying to see which one should go first. But hey, I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it. But one of the components was, as much as we have to reconcile. Okay, we're a sum total of our ancestors. All their blood runs through our veins, good, bad, or indifferent, whether there was monsters, whether there was angels, whatever they were. We, as we are living and breathing in this day and time, are the sum total of our ancestors, okay? And so in order to not relive or not relive their pains and their whatever they went through, we have to now heal all of that within us. All the stuff that they went through, we have to heal all of that this time in this day and time now. And it's like, as a black woman, we talk about slavery and all the things that they went through in slavery. Yeah, we understand that. And there was a lot of pains, there was a lot of atrocities, there's a lot of damage that's been done because of that. Yet, what we have to understand is they went through it. They came through it and they came out of it. Meaning that as much as it was damaging, as much as it was pains and sufferings, we're here because they went through it. And what they don't want is to continue to go through their pains and sufferings. They did the suffering, they did the pains, they went through those pains, so we don't have to. So we have to think about reconciling all of that in regards to healing that within us. Like I said, it is the love of self that heals everything. Whether it's, oh gosh, I just scared myself silly just then. You ain't got a clue, yo. I'm not even going to give you that joke. I'm going to keep that to myself. Whew. But, yo, wow. But they want us to reconcile that in ourselves, meaning that the pains that they went through, all there, as their blood runs through our veins, we heal that here and now. Because the movement moving forward, the life that we're trying to create moving forward, it has to be of a space of unity. It has to be in the space of love. It has to be in the space of freedom. And without those components, we're still going to pull along that energy or that the pains and suffering of the old. It's never saying that we're never... Remember when I talked about we're healing something in ourselves, folks that have been through molestation and stuff like that, you have to love that part of you to complete you as a whole being. The ancestors are saying now we have to love all of that they went through to heal us as a complete being, because without us healing us from this point, we're still going to bring that pain and suffering moving forward. But the other deep part is that they dropped on me. Every people on this planet, whether they're white, whether they're Asian, whether they're Indian, all those that have done evil, those that have done atrocities, they've got to do the same thing. Meaning that as much evil as they've done, that blood of those evil people or those negative people still runs through their veins. So they have to love their self entirety in order to heal that, in order to release all of that, in order to break the cycle of all of that. Meaning that it don't matter where you're from, whether you were black, whether you white, it doesn't matter. We've all got to go through the same thing. We have all got to reconcile that. That's why the ancestors are saying, we did what we did. We went through what we went through. It's time now. See, they get me emotional again. Yo, it's time now that we reconcile this to let go of that. This is not about forgetting all of that. It's about reconciling this so the ancestors can now live through us in the peace and the love that we create moving forward. When we talk about healing ourselves, we talk about there's a lot of pains and sufferings that we carry as baggage, as weight, because we don't want to let it go. And in order to be free of that, we're going to keep going through the same stuff in order for us to release it. So they're saying the same rules apply. We can't move forward without releasing a lot of this stuff. Meaning that any negative trauma that you had, if you can think about it without having an emotional reaction to it, you've healed that space within you. You've not forgotten it because it can never be forgotten, but you've healed that space. So moving forward, that energy will not have an effect in you moving forward. That energy will not be able to speak for you moving forward because hurt people hurt people. No matter how much you want to not hurt another, because of the hurt that you have in yourself, that you've not rectified, that you've not healed, that you've not come to terms with, that you've not released, will have a voice somewhere how you express yourself, whether it is through anger, whether it's through the ego, whether it's through the fighting, whether it's through, nobody could tell me nothing, whatever it is. Remember, most people, in order to control a mass amount of people, there had to be some fear as to why they wanted to control them. I did a video yesterday about Africa and the diaspora, which wants to be united, okay? We can't move forward without that component being united, that the diaspora and Africans unite as one in order to heal the whole thing. So they was like, why do you think they came to do so much destruction to Africa? When people come and see a great nation, a great civilization, whether it's through resources, food, or whatever you want to do, spirituality, and you see such a great thing, it's fear that rises up in them that wants to try and control it, wants to try and dominate it. So what does it do? Break it down systematically in order to leave it with nothing, leave it without a foundation. Remember, Africa had its roots. Every place on this planet has influences from Africa, has everything from Africa. So again, the ancestors are saying, in order to heal that space, we got to heal it in ourselves. I know I keep going back to self and what we have to do. But when they're giving it me in a way that, it doesn't matter what color you are, your people, if there's people in your family line have done some messed up, jacked up, evil, wicked, negative stuff, their blood still runs through your veins. Whether you want to accept it or not, if people are related to Hitler, if people are related to, some of the most wickedest, evil people on the planet, if they are connected to them via their bloodline, it's that energy that still flows through them. So regardless of who you are, you have to reconcile that ancestral part in you in order to release it, because it's in loving that space that's in you, it's loving the evil out of you that they did, so to speak. It's like, we can't forget it, but we can release it, so it has no more of an effect of us moving forward. And that component was like, if we could all, as individuals, as collective, as souls, if we all as souls could understand that dynamic, that every person that's living and breathing on this planet has a duty to dissolve all of the negativities, all the all all the sum totals of their ancestral lines, that you have a duty to heal that within you, to release all of that, because that's what happens. Because moving forward, what you healing you moving forward doesn't exist anymore, so to speak. The memory of those ills are there, but not with an attachment and an emotional attachment that you carry around like a baggage. So when they said that, but the white people have to do the same thing, the evils that them people did for, with the fears, and basically it's all about fears. Remember I said fears is one of those things that will lead you to do the most craziest stuff, but will make you implement stuff in order to keep yourself in a space where you don't. Watch people who like to control stuff. They control with a space of feeling like they're out of control. In just our basic life, look in your family. You'll find that's people that don't want to lose control so much that they have to control every little facet of other people's lives, because they feel like if they can't do that, then they don't have control in themselves. So it's a psychological thing where, this is something you got to deal with here. So if you've got a mass amount of people, if you've got a nation of people that see another set of people, if we don't control them, they're going to control us. So we've got to do anything in our power to make sure they do not succeed in whatever they do. But it's in a day and time now that we can't keep living and allowing that mentality to keep running the same program. Because it's run the program for long enough that it's now we're obligated. Not obligated, we're obligated to ourselves and obligated to the planet to change that. And that means that we have to heal that ancestral part of us that is connected to anything negative, anything wicked, anything evil, anything like that. It is our duty, it's our obligation to heal it here. Because in healing it here, then it ceases to exist or ceases to have an effect moving forward. And if we're to create the world that we want, which is based on unity, which is based on equality, which is based on love, which is based on, no more suffering, and no people having no food, or people having nowhere to live, or there's no money here, this all the crazy stuff that we shouldn't be dealing with at this day and time, that has to be rectified in us. They was also saying, when I said that we have to have the conversations before about the ancestors, meaning that if you look at your life right now, if you don't, and this is what's going on with everybody, if you don't rectify, if you don't acknowledge the broken pieces within you, those pieces are going to come up and talk in order to say, hey, we need fixing, we need to be worked on. Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm bringing it up. You don't like it? Deal with it. Deal with it now so we can move on, because right now you are stopping progress. You're stopping the wisdom that needs to come through, the wisdom, the technology, the ways that's going to move our systems forward. That information, you're stopping that progress. So in order for you to allow that progress to move through you got to work on this now. So it's become a very uncomfortable space for a lot of people to be in. But when I say this, I'm saying that people seem to think that ancestral veneration, yes, you honor your ancestors, you give this and that to your ancestors. We're still dealing with consciousness, okay? So that means there has to be a consciousness within them that wants to elevate. So don't think because of the evils that they did, they can just walk on by and you just do offerings and they're going to ascend. Doesn't work that way. There is, because, and I'm not saying I sit here and talk to ancestors like, spirits like this. I'm not saying that. But I've been aware and I've been around enough spirits for them to know that, where we are, I don't like it. I did some messed up stuff in my life, and until I fix that, I can't move forward. You know what I mean? And I know for facts that they've got people here that do ancestral veneration and ancestral worship and bring out a gungun, do all that kind of stuff, and they're still staying there stuck. So I'm saying that in order to release all of that, we got to do work here. And in order for that energy not to continue to be an issue in the next part of the life or the next direction, we have to do that work here, because we can't escape that. We can't escape the work that our soul has come here to learn. We can't escape Whether we have a physical body or not, we cannot escape what our soul has come to learn from this space. So like I said, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, whether you're Indian, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you are. You have to heal all of that issues, all that negativity that your people, your family, you've got to reconcile that within you. You know what I mean? And that's how the ancestors are saying, how are you going to ease that is to come to terms with it. Now, we could talk about you could talk about white people, like, you know, they did all this with the what you call it, the slavery and stuff. Yeah, they did. They've got there's white people now that realize, yo, my people was messed up, and I'm not supporting that. I don't believe in that. I believe in equality. I think that y'all have been totally messed up, and whatever I can do to support you and help you heal from this, I'm gonna do that. But the way they do that is loving themselves completely, loving that evil out of them. Just the same way we have to do it. We have we have people in our family. We have some evil folks in our family that's in our bloodline. So in order to remove that, we have to reconcile that within ourselves. Because if their blood runs through our veins, that means a piece of them is still resides, is still a part of us, it's still a part of our DNA. And if it's a part of our DNA, that lets you know that you have the ability to do some negative, jacked up, messed up stuff too. But in loving you from a whole being or a whole vessel perspective, it releases it releases that energy that keeps you trapped. And so when I got that message today, I was like, wow, I never looked at it that way. Because, you know, we're always looking at, you know, people are always pointing the fingers at what people should do as a whole and what people should do to get over this. Slavery was over 400 years. You should get over that. It's not about getting over. You know what I mean? These are stories. These are historical stories that, one, lets you know the resilience of a people that was able to go through anything, to withstand anything. You know, and again, like I said before, what we're living in this day and time is a sum total of our collective thoughts. So if our collective thoughts created a space that we didn't like, imagine what our collective thoughts in love is going to create moving forward. And that's what they want us to continue to get to understand. That's what they want us to realize. We're not waiting for something to come and do something for us to say, oh, wow, they come and just, you know, some spaceships have come and taken away all the evils of the world and blah, blah, blah. They're not doing that. They're waiting for us to realize that wisdom, that knowledge, that grace, that intelligence, that guidance is within all of us, and we have to reconcile all those different pieces of us that our ancestors, all the wisdom of the ancestors, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, they had some wisdom along with them, and all of that information is a part of us now. And you know what tends to happen is we connect with other people and it triggers something in us to open up something else and open up something else. And that's what it's meant to do, because we don't all have the keys to every lock. But, you know, connecting with like minds and connecting in a unified space opens up ways that we can't even imagine. And that's what they want us to understand. The ancestors are like, you know what I mean? Black, white. I keep wanting to, there's a song that there's a song, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know all of it, but part of it is like black, white, somewhat, and Haitian. Something like, I can't remember what song it is. But that every time I say those words, that's what keeps coming to my mind. I'm like, stop. I ain't trying to be funny right now. Let me be serious. But anyway, they're saying that, you know, that's how we move forward with Mother Earth. That's how where humanity has to move forward in a different way. And the ancestors are saying, on all aspects, we did what we did, not for you to continue to do the same. You got to understand that where you are now, there's so much more wisdom, there's so much more information that you have to love and understand who you are, that you can heal us. You can free us by freeing yourselves. But that comes with a space of loving self from a deep perspective that you've not known. And this, it's got to change. Ancestral reconciliation. reconciling all the evil atrocities that may have been part of your bloodline, healing that all within you. And like I said, it's almost like a continuation of the one that I did when they first gave it to me about the molestation part and that reconciliation, loving that part of yourself that you hate that was damaged. Now they're saying ancestrally we have to do the same thing. No matter what our ancestors went through, whatever they went through, whether good, bad, or indifferent, we have to reconcile all of that within us. So moving forward, that pain and suffering doesn't speak for us. We can look at that as a testimony of where we've come from and not as a point of reference as to say where we're trying to go. They don't want us to feel that pain. They said, we did all of that. Why do you need to continue to suffer? And the only way that you can, the only way you can escape the fears that have been placed upon us is to do that work, to go within, to love ourselves, because that's the only way they can keep you under control is through fear. Remember our own, going back to slavery again, what did they do in order to stop us from loving our cultures, our traditions? They beat it out of us, or they gave us different names. They did all these things to stop us from remembering who we were, to remembering the wisdom, the knowledge, the medicines. I was just thinking about it today. I was watching. I was a part of a Zoom, and they were saying that Madagascar or something like that had found medicines or herbs to heal this COVID stuff, but the what do you call it? I don't know what federation or whatever it was shut it down. And I'm like, hold on a minute. How does nature that has all the can you be quiet, please? I'm on a live. Sorry about that. My daughter's loud. That nature has all kinds of medicines that you can put together to heal anything on this planet. But yet, when traditional medicines want to be utilized, you have those that want to create chemical medicines to say that, no, they're more effective than nature itself. I'm confused. How did that become the norm when nature is supposed to be the norm? But hey, this is what we've been living with. This is that fears that we've been subjected to for so long that we've just accepted. And they're saying, nah, there's no more. So going back to ancestral reconciliation. In order to reconcile the evils and the pains and the sufferings, we have to reconcile that in ourselves. It's not saying everything that they did was okay, and it's not accepting it as being okay. It's saying that in me right now, I'm not going to live through the pains of what my ancestors went through. I will never forget what they went through. I can't, because it's part of who I am. But I'm no longer willing to hold the pains in my cells, in my cellular memory, in my DNA, to move forward, to carry that on to the next generation when we're supposed to be living in a space of love. Those pains and those ills, those sufferings, those traumas don't have any place in the world that we're trying to create, the world that we are creating. Since so much stuff has gone on, we're never living the same way again. That old stuff is literally, everything is being broken down bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit. And we have to do our part in the midst of this. Whenever I come and talk about stuff like this, I realize that there's a lot of people that can go on different resorts or pay a whole bunch of money to talk about that learning about self, or learning about that inner place. And I'm like, but the majority of the people don't have access to that stuff. The majority of the people don't even understand that they have within them the power to make the changes that everybody can make. They have not been exposed to that wisdom, or to that knowledge, or to that love that we all have innately within us. And so how can I sit down and be quiet? Don't get me wrong, I ain't rich to say that I've got access to all this stuff, but give thanks to the ancestors, give thanks to Olodumare, give thanks to Oriye Yoshon, give thanks to Oromala, give thanks to all the Imala, give thanks to all the divinities, give thanks to all my ancestors, because like I ask for every day, I'm a vessel. And as long as I'm an open vessel, they will give me the wisdom that I need in order to speak. And this is what I do. And if a little seed of what I say gives you a little understanding that you have a better space within yourself, if a little thing that I can say gives you the understanding that you know what, you have within you the ability to change not only your world, but those around you. If I can do that with the breath that I have in my body, I'm going to do it. It don't cost me nothing to do that at all. It's a little bit of my time. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful that I'm able to do this. So when they give me these messages, it's an honor. I ain't even going to lie. It's an honor. Because when I think about it, I sit down and be like, yo, that's some profound... that's some profound stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, wow. The reconciliation of the ancestors. I swear I didn't look about it. This morning, I tell you, they give that... In my waking day is like a meditation. Because when they drop it on me, it's like bloop. So when they said even every color, every nation of people has to reconcile all of that with love. Because whatever their ancestors went through, whatever their people went through, whatever they did, they have to heal all of that within themselves, within who you are. You've got people, think about it now. You've got people of different races. That means they've got so much different blood, whether they identify with being black or whether they identify with being white. Just the fact that there's been so much mix-up. Look at the amount of blood. Look at the amount of ancestors. Look at the amount of stuff that you have to reconcile. But this is what the ancestors are saying. In order for us to move forward, that's how we do it. We love ourselves completely in spite of what they did, in spite of how much they went through, in spite of all the pains and sufferings and the atrocities that they had to deal with, in spite of all the damage that they did, in spite of all the wickedness and evilness that they did, in spite of all the raping and all the mixing by force, or the breaking down, or the abuse, in spite of all of that, love ourselves completely. In loving ourselves completely, it eliminates, it dissolves the evils that they did. Because it's not only, remember, this is cycles. As above, so below. There's not one without the other. So in the ancestral realm, whatever we do here affects them. Whatever they do there affects us. So as we have choice, as we have thought, as we have ways of being, we have to choose to want to heal this. We cannot keep holding on to a space that is just part of our memory and think we're going to create a new space. The memory of what they did carries on and lives on with us, but it has to live on with us in a space of a testimony and not of baggage. Because baggage is destructive. Baggage is like, Erykah Badu said it, bag lady. You know what I mean? You're going to hurt your back carrying all those bags like that. That's ancestral baggage. It's a part of our DNA. It's a part of who we are, but we can reconcile that by loving us completely. As a complete soul. So, like I said, I talk about this is not a black thing, this is not a white thing, this is a people thing, this is a humanity thing. This humanity, it's the world that we have to heal. Because as long as the world is jacked up, messed up, suppressed, and how Africa is, I talked about Africa yesterday, as long as Africa is suppressed in the way it is, we're not going to move forward the way we need to. So we have to reconcile all of those aspects of us to come together and unify. Because there's a section of people that do not want us to know this. There's a section of people that do not want us to come to that space of understanding and acknowledging that space of us. There's a section of people that fear us knowing us. There's a section of people that fear the outcome of us knowing who we are and moving on that accord. You know what I mean? They can put so much fear into your space by, the media, or telling you, oh, if you don't do this, you're not going to get that. If you don't take this vaccine, you can't work. That means you can't work. You can't make no money. If you can't make no money, you can't take care of your family. You can't take care of your family, then what's going to happen? They can instill those kinds of fears in you if you accept it. But just imagine if every single one of us realized the innate power that we have within us to unify and stand there and say, no, you cannot do that, because that's against our right just to live, just to be a human. You cannot force your will on me. Just the same way as I cannot force my will on you. We have the right to be. What was the thing that they? Okay, not perspective. What is it? My choice. There was one of the things that they brought that they made me look at today. Um, what was it? What's the word? Not perspective. You know, like when you have a choice, like my if tea or coffee is my choice. I choose tea, not tea like tea bag with milk and sugar, but tea as in like fruity tea instead of coffee. That's my, what's the word I'm looking for? Golly, I had it earlier on and now I forgot it. That's my it's like my choice. It's not choice. I think it begins with P. I can't. Oh, it's getting on my nerves. That's my shoot. It's my choice. Everybody has choices. Everybody. I believe the federal agents run the world. Well, I believe that we can run the world if we want it, but we have to be united on that. You know what I mean? With, systematically doing that, systematically breaking down the structures that they've put in place. But anyway, we all have choices, okay? We all have preference. Thank you. Preference. My preference. Yo, thank you. My preference is that I prefer. Yo, thank you. Oh, wonderful. My preference is tea instead of coffee. My preference is I have my children are black. My preference is black man. Does that mean because I have a preference to say that I love my black men that I hate everybody else? No. That's the problem. People seem to think that, because your preference is yours, that's your choice, that it must somehow infect somebody else's, and it doesn't. If we allow everybody to be themselves, because like I said, you can't change anybody but you. You can speak all this stuff on people's lives and speak all these things, but you can't. If people want to be what they want to be, they're going to do that in spite of what you say. You got to allow them to be them. So, preferences. If a man prefers to be with a man instead of a woman, or a woman prefers to be with a woman instead of a man, that is their preference and that is their choice and that is their right to do and live as they please. We got to get out of that space of judgment. The ancestors lived with judgment so much. And I'm talking about collectively, ancestors collectively. It's almost like their life was based upon judgment. Remember, it's the judgments of those colonizers that went to wherever they went to see how our ancestors were living and was like, no. How do I save the comments on Instagram? Because as soon as I click save, they disappear. And I have no idea what a lot of people have been saying. You already know the president don't make all the bloody choices, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff behind him, but they're the ones who nobody ever sees. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, preferences. We all have preferences. Our preference to be who we want to be, to love who we want to love, to be with who we want to be with, to do the job that we want to do or don't want to do. It's our preference. Don't be in the space of judgment to judge somebody based upon their own preferences. Because like I said, I see beauty in all people. Black, white, whatever. I see beauty and I will speak on it. I would say, that person there is beautiful. Woman, man, doesn't matter. My preference is my own. My preference to want to be a part of my world is mine. And my choice alone. So you can't take that from me. If my preference is to be with somebody who's so black and dark, that's my preference. You're going to be upset with that? And that's the problem. People don't accept people's preferences. You know what I mean? People don't want to accept people's choice. That's what this going on right now with this. As humanity, we sometimes internalize through a clouded filter. Yeah, it is. It's true. But we got to get away from that. The only way we can eliminate the chaos. Okay, what else they told me? They said, through this chaos, we're being forced to evolve. Through the chaos of the world, we're being forced to evolve because only through chaos will we start to see the reality of what we're living and then want to do something about it. If we're comfortable, you know what I mean, you kind of stay with the okie doke. So it's through the chaos, and the ancestors are bringing this chaos up to say, yo, it's time to put it behind you and move forward and create the world that you want to live in, to create the world that our other children that want to come through here can live in. And the only way you're going to do that is to heal and reconcile that within you. So it's reconciling. I've gone back again to that ancestral reconciliation. All the evils, all the negatives, all the good, bad, or indifferent that they did. Wherever you're from in this world, you have to reconcile that in you and unify that in you and love it. Love it away. Love it away so the decisions you move forward. Because you know what? It's only in unity that we can get to change things. Because as long as we're separate in a space of fear, we can't do nothing. Side topic. Give me a brief summary on your description. You know what? That's another topic. That's another topic for another time. Please. Thank you. That is another topic. But yeah, ancestors want us to heal that on all sides. Whether you are black, whether you are white, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whatever you've been through, whatever they went through, whatever they did, what evils, and they know they did some evil shit. And I said shit, yes, I said it, shit. They've done some evil. But we have to heal that within. We got to reconcile that within us. We got to love that in us so we can move on. Because we can't move on without it. Because we're still going to pull. It's like dead weight. We're going to keep dragging it along. And it's not saying that we can never forget what took place in our ancestors. Look at it. Okay, let's go back to the civilizations that was thriving and thriving before we even know. That wisdom is still coming through us. It's just that it's so far removed that we don't recognize that influence. We're totally consumed by the stuff that's been going on in recent years, and whether this the last 400 years, we're consumed with all of that stuff. Even the ones that, you know, I mean, from, you know, those coming in and massacring the Native Americans, we're still consumed because, you know, like I said, there's a lot of people who mix up. You can't escape that fact. You know what I mean? You can't escape the fact of how people come and destroyed lands, took lands, robbed lands, raped women, and, you know what I mean, produced children from all of that atrocities, killed men, all of that stuff. But they want you to remember, they went through that. That's why we're here. And if we want to heal all of that, we do it by loving us. That was the biggest message. And I was like, wow, I got to give it today. So ancestral reconciliation, that's where we're at right now. And if you really don't get it, look at your life and see what needs to be healed. Because all those things, all those triggers, all those issues are coming up to be recognized, to say that you got to get rid of. You can't move forward as long as you're holding on to any pain, sufferings, traumas. You'll continue to hurt others with that, even when you don't even mean to. That's why, as you being a sum total of your bloodline going back until you can't even think, the ancestors still existing that far back. Their blood is still coming through you. It's still part of your DNA structure. It's still part of your cells. Every bit of you is still made up from all of that. Love it completely. You loving that completely heals all of that. It's like a what you call it, ripple effect on both ends, moving forward and moving back. It heals that from the back, and it heals that moving forward. So it is so important for us, for that reconciliation of our complete soul, in order to create anew. It is very important. So I'm going to leave it there, and I give thanks. Like I said, I always ask, how do I change the vibration of the planet with love? And when I say I ask, how do I say that how do I, meaning how do I verbalize the wisdom that needs to change the vibration of the planet with love, because I myself don't do this by myself. It is a collective effort. So that means if the words that I speak, that they come through me, it touches a soul, and you feel that and you resonate with that, and for some reason you shift your perspective because of that wisdom, then it's a collective effort that changes again, and it's like a little ripple effect, and it keeps moving. So again, how do we change the vibration of the planet with love? I had to start with me because that's who I'm working with. Now it's a we, because we all have the abilities to gain wisdom and knowledge in order to change what we're doing. And the ancestors know this, and the ancestors are supporting this, and the ancestors want us to know this. Good, bad, or indifferent. There are some of the ancestors that are like, nah, they've stayed, there's stuck ancestors, don't get me wrong. There are stuck energies that are become very dark, disembodied souls that have not found out how to release that internal trauma. So passing on, they're still stuck, and they're still trying to cause havoc any way that they can, and spreading it into this world, even by whispering into people. You know what I mean? But we have to remember, what we do now affects what we do when we pass on. So when we become an ancestor, so let's be the best that we can be, so when we do pass on, we make that job just a little bit easier for our children's children to maneuver through, because the wisdom that we've gained here is going to be passed on to them. So that reconciliation right now is like I said, it's a big cycle that, we're now become, come to own. This is our time. It's our time now to do it. It's our time to be responsible. It's our time to be the custodians of our culture and our world the way we want it to exist. It's our time to make that change. So anyway, I'm going to go now. And if anybody can tell me how I can keep comments, because I can keep the comments or the messages from Facebook, they stay there. But on Instagram, I have no idea how to save those comments so I could see them again, because, without my glasses, because that's real small, I can barely see it. But anyway, I love you. I love me too. And you have an amazing, wonderful weekend. And until I see you again, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. It depends when they drop it on my spirit. But anyway, love you lots, and talk to you again. Take care. Peace out.